I'm Rachel Malcolm. I'm a maternal child health worker with Caregivers Canyon Family Services. Today we're going to be trying a couple different ways to make beets. We're going to be making pickled beets and Harvard beets. The first step for making the pickled beets is to boil the beets. We're going to cook them. They're just in the pot here. I covered it with cold water and put it on high. And we're going to boil them until they're tender. It depends on the size. So probably 10 to 15 minutes. I'll be checking those. While the beets are cooking, I'm going to be making the brine. So I have a pot here. I'm putting in 1 cup of vinegar. It's a hot pot. 1 cup of water, and I'm also going to put the sugar and the cloves and the salt in. And I'm just going to bring this to a full boil. And we're going to use that to put in the jars with the beets. The brine has come to a boil, so the salt, the sugar has all dissolved. And I'm just going to turn this off now and set it aside until we need it later. We have cooked the beets. I cook them until a knife will go into them easily. That's when they're tender enough. So then I poured off the hot water and put cold water on top to allow them to cool. The next step is peeling them. These are mostly already peeled. Sometimes you'll find that the skins will just push away with your hands. That's kind of handy. These ones, we did have to use a knife to peel them. But it's just kind of chopping the ends off, peeling the skins away, and it leaves them like this. Now this does get your hands good and red, but it will eventually come out. So then I've peeled all the beets here and they're ready to slice up. So the next step that we're gonna do is just slicing the beets. And I just cut them into little slices here, and we're gonna pack these into the jars. Before you pickle the beets, you want to sterilize your jars. So I've washed the jars, the rings, and the lids. Right now I'm just going to sterilize the jars. I'm just going to place them in boiling water for 10 minutes, and that will kill any bacteria. So this tool here is really, really important for canning. It just kind of protects your hands. It gets a secure hold on the jars. So the water is already boiling. And there we go. The jars have sterilized now for 10 minutes. I'm just going to remove the lids and take the jars out. This can be a little trickier because they're full of water now. So just kind of pouring the water out. Just be really careful not to dump it on your hands. And I have a towel here to put them on. So these lids here, they're going to work a lot better if they're softened, that rubber seal. So I have a small pot here with boiling water. I'm going to put them in the water once it's boiled and just turn it off and let them sit till I'm ready to use them. And that'll just be a few minutes. My jars here are all sterilized. I have the sliced beets. I'm just going to start packing them into the jars. Be careful, these jars are pretty hot. So I just want to fill them up the beets. My hands are clean. I'm going to be leaving close to an inch of head space, so not filling them right up to the top, but kind of trying to pack in those spaces too. I've just reheated this brine, so it's nice and hot, and I'm going to start pouring it into the jars. Just taking out the lids out of the hot water and place them on the jars here. Just want to make sure that the rim is clean. If there's any residue or anything on there, it can prevent the jars from sealing. And then we can put the rings on. These are ready now to go in the canner. So I'm going to put them in just a hot water bath. Some things do need a pressure canner, a pressure cooker, but these pickled beets do not. So I'm just going to put them in a hot water bath and make sure that they're covered with an inch of water. And I'm going to boil them for 10 minutes, and that will process them. So again, just kind of being careful, lowering them in slowly so that it doesn't splash. And then I'm just going to let those process for 10 minutes. The beets have processed for 10 minutes now. Bring them out. You can see it kind of boiling inside still. So just want to let them rest undisturbed. And kind of a fun part of canning or processing food is the popping of the lids. So that'll happen as they cool down. You can see the lids are kind of bowed up now. As they cool down, they'll pop and seal. I'm going to show you how to make Harvard Beets. This is actually a favorite of my family's. It's kind of easier, it doesn't require a canner, and it kind of gives you some of the same flavors as pickled beets. I have here 4 cups of sliced cooked beets. You can prepare these the same way as we did for the pickled beets. So they were cooked until they're tender, peeled and sliced. If you don't have these, you could also use like canned cooked beets for this. I have 4 teaspoons of cornstarch, 3/4 cups of sugar, so this isn't the healthiest way to eat vegetables, but it is a way. I have 3/4 cups of vinegar and 3/4 cups of water to make the sauce, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to start by making the sauce for the Harvard Beets. So you can put in the vinegar, the water, and I'm going to stir in the cornstarch. And I'm also going to add the sugar. Just want to bring this to a boil. I've got it over medium heat here. So cornstarch makes a really nice kind of clear sauce. Right now it's kind of that milky white, but once it boils, it'll turn clear. The sauce has cleared and come to a boil. I'm just going to add the butter and salt and pepper. over to this. And just melt that butter a little bit. And now I'm going to add the beets, and I just want to fully coat them, and I'm going to let them cook in here a few minutes for one, to soften a little bit more, and also to just heat them up because they're not hot right now. So just add them to the pot and let it boil for a few minutes. It's going to need stirring throughout that time. And just fully coat the beets in the sauce. So the beets have come to a boil, they're fully warmed now. I'm just going to put them back in the bowl that they came from. And you can see that that sauce is this nice and beautiful color. There. So this is 2 ways to prepare beets right from your garden. Enjoy.